What is going on, everybody? We just got an update with some news on Hella Loose, with Team 17 releasing dev brief number 206, covering update 18 and some of the stuff that'll be coming along with it here. So let's jump into it. Right off the bat, they are talking about the Stalingrad PTE announcement, stating that our first public testing environment for the new and improved Stalingrad will be taking place on Friday, the 15th of August. And unlike previous PTEs, this session will run over a much shorter time frame. Rather than spanning an entire weekend, we'll be hosting a special extended play session. You may even see some of our dev team in the session as well, so mark your calendars and make sure you're among the first people to experience the refreshed Stalingrad firsthand. So previous PTEs have lasted usually a whole weekend, from Friday to early Monday morning US time, I believe. And they're hoping by shortening this one day that everyone that wants to try it will try it on that day and it will fill a server. I'm curious to see if this works because previous PTs haven't gone so well, if I'm being completely honest. I think usually it's about 20 or 30 people in there if you're lucky, but usually it's just a few folks in there trying out the new stuff and messing around. So interesting choice here. We'll see how it goes. The next topic on here is technical art team updates. Starting with the ambient VFX, they state one of the key changes our technical art team has implemented is the addition of new ambient VFX volumes to the Stalingrad map. These have been carefully tuned alongside existing volumetric fog settings to create a more cohesive blend with the updated lighting. Work is also ongoing on a fire pass for the point of interest building in Stalingrad. Additional lighting has been placed using mesh distance field shadows on point lights, creating dramatic effects without increasing shadow cost. And we have a picture of it here, but what they're saying here is they're going for a new vibe on Stalingrad, basically. They're making it feel a little more intense, a little more moody, and then the fire's gonna pop a little more. Next up, we have lighting, saying Stalingrad is getting a refreshed look with significant improvements to lighting and exposure, as well as giving Stalingrad a much more dramatic skybox. Volumetric fog has also been enabled for use with the ambient VFX volumes, adding to a more atmospheric, smoggy look. Directional light colors and intensity have been tuned. The skybox has been tuned to add more drama without blowing out the highlights. And in parentheses, they say requiring an update of the skybox material to add more control. HDRI lighting has been updated to better match the new skybox, and there's post-processing to reduce the warmth and to add some contrast to counter the flatness sometimes experienced with a more overcast map. And I will say this is cool. It sounds like they've learned lessons about implementing fog in the past, and they're building on that. And it's not just going to be a wall of fog. It'll actually have some depth with some lighting popping through it. And there is an image here of these skyboxes that they're talking about with some text under it saying the technical art team has been updating the lighting scenarios for the Russian and German offensive and skirmish levels. We're actively collaborating with art direction and level design teams to finalize these scenarios. And as always, they'd love to hear your feedback on which versions you like the look of. And they do have some videos, but it gives you a good idea of what they're going for here. This first one will be morning, and they kind of just zoom around in between some buildings, and it looks fantastic. It reminds me of the German offensive that we currently have with that bright skybox that really makes the map pop. And then we have dusk, which is a little more red with some purple in it. This looks great. It reminds me of Hill 400 Skirmish, if you've ever played that. And then finally, we have overcast, which is a little more traditional Hella Loose here. It's just kind of blue and gray with a little bit of a fog in the distance. And then after that, we have an update on Vehicle Explosion VFX, in parentheses, all caps, work in progress. And Team 17 states, as outlined in our roadmap earlier this year, we're working on delivering much needed improvements to our Vehicle Explosion VFX. Our technical art team has begun prototyping enhanced and more varied explosions effects to bring the greater visual impact and realism to the battlefield. Please note that this is still a work in progress and will continue to be developed before being introduced into the live game. In the meantime, we hope you enjoy this behind-the-scenes video from the team showcasing what they've been working on so far.
Hi, this is a quick video into some of the vehicle explosion VFX that I've been looking into. So I've got a few explosion variants now that we assign based on vehicle type. So you can see if we were to destroy a Jeep, we get a different explosion to a tank. And we can do this with different kinds of vehicles to get unique explosions for each of them. So yeah, the VFX do need a bit of polish. I've been looking at a Houdini pipeline for generating some flipbooks for these. So yeah, this is how it's looking.
So right off the bat, I will say these look much better than the current GIFs that are in the game. It's hard to tell from this video that these are actual 3D explosions. But like I said, these do look better than what's currently in there. Do I feel like this is the best they can be? Not really. They kind of look like mini nukes going off. It's a lot of fire. I do enjoy how they can have different explosions for different vehicles, but when this is all said and done, I'm hoping we get tank cook-offs and something maybe a little more realistic. So a bit of time to go on this, but I like the direction that we're heading. Next up, we have the weather manager saying the technical art team have been investigating ways to introduce localized fog to add more ambience and atmosphere to Stalingrad. This has led the technical art team to continue developing a new fog volume tool for adding localized fog, smoke, and smog. This tool will be expanded to use a variety of VFX, such as embers and fire particles, to support additional features that we will see in future maps. And with Stalingrad, they are saying along with changes to lighting and VFX, we will also be adding our weather manager to the Stalingrad refresh. Using our sandstorm setting created for Tobruk, we have adopted this to create dynamic fog and dust that will roll across the map throughout the battle duration. And we do have a video here showcasing it, and we get to see the fog slowly roll in and kind of engulf this wrecked building, and it looks pretty cool. And again, I think they've learned lessons from introducing fog in the past where it's just this flat wall, and now it's more of a dynamic effect. I would love to see this expanded upon and introduced to other maps where we currently have fog, as not only do I think it looks better, but it'd be a little more dynamic than always just having this deep cloud that you're walking through. And next up, they talk about legacy maps, saying the weather manager will also continue to be rolled out to more of the legacy maps, which will now include Carentan. The lighting for this weather scenario has been updated to better match the weather type. Dynamic rain is now enabled for the following maps: Carentan Offensive US and Carentan Offensive Germans. And we did get a clip showcasing this, and I think it's pretty cool. It adds a nice tone to the map to have the rain trickling in the background and then eventually go into a thicker downpour. My only concern is that it can be a little too loud and distracting. I remember doing the Mortain PTE with the dynamic rain, and I could barely hear anything else besides the rain. So hopefully it's better than that. And here's a better look at this updated lighting in this image here. I think it looks great, so improvement there. And that does it for all the new information in this dev brief. They do finish it off saying they're going to have a live stream tomorrow, August 7th, for another Best of the Community featuring our good friend Soul Sniper. So make sure you check into the Hell Let Loose Twitch channel for that if you want to watch it. And of course, if you want to read this dev brief for yourself, I will link it down in the description of this video, as well as pin it in the comments so you can form your own opinions. So at the end of the day, I am excited for Stalingrad to get a refresh, get a new look, and make that map more enjoyable. I do wish there was more information about how they're making the performance better. I know we kind of get a preview about that in previous dev briefs, but I think that's the biggest complaint about Stalingrad is how it performs. And this dev brief just kind of seemed to be about the weather and lighting, which is cool, but I don't think that's what people are most interested in here. But regardless, we get to check it out for ourselves in the PTE next week. So if you are interested in any of this, make sure you jump in, check it out, give them feedback. I know I'll be in there, so hopefully I'll see you guys in there as well. Let me know your thoughts on this information. Are you excited for Stalingrad? What are your concerns? But that's all for me. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate everything you do. I will see you dudes on the next one. Thank you. Bye-bye.